with OP08 coming out in English, I thought this would be a good opportunity to give you guys my current deck list for carrots in OP09. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. My name is Mobby, and as mentioned, we're going to go over Carrot. Did she get any stronger in OP09, or how about ST15 to 20? Is there any buffs there? Let's talk about it. Alright, make sure to like and subscribe. It's free to do so. It really helps us out. I upload daily deck profiles and duels for One Piece, Dragon Ball Super Fusion World, and Union Arena. Alright, so here we are, guys. This is my personal deck list. We're going to go over each card, talk about the strengths and weakness of the deck, and then we'll head over to the PC view for a full breakdown. So let's get started. The archetype here is Minx. This is pretty much a 60% Minx, 40% other cards, and I would say that this is kind of a better off meta sort of deck. All right, so let's get started. Lowest to highest, we will read each of them and then give a summary on how they work in the deck. We'll start with the leader, and this is a Japanese translated one. If you guys want to print out your own proxies, link in the description. I have a full list on how to do so. But anyway, here is Carrot. This is a mono green leader with 5,000 power and 5 life. Activate main once per turn. If you have a Minx character in play, meaning a character on the field, doesn't matter the cost, then you can rest one of your opponent's 5 or less characters. The resting here is pretty nice. You don't have to do anything but activate it during your main, so it's pretty versatile if you want to do it earlier or later in your turn to attack them or to rest blockers, or if you want to just have them rested so you can sleep them on the field, which we will talk about later. So pretty good one for early game stuff. Alright, so let's talk about the first card in the deck. Because the side of justice will be whichever side wins, this is a really good card. It's not a Minx, so it's not searchable. Comes from OP05, 0 cost. You can trash one card from your hand. Up to one of your leaders or characters gains 3,000 power during this turn. A pretty good card if you have a lot of dead cards later on in your deck with 0 cost counters. This one has a couple, which is why we're running these. The trigger is rest up to one of your character's 4 cost or less, so the trigger is decent, but it's primarily here to trash cards that you really aren't going to be using anymore throughout the game. So running 3 of these. Now for our first Minx card, this is Wanda from OP08. This is 1, 2, 1 on play. Look at the top 5, grab a Minx, and the rest go to the bottom, except Wanda, of course. So this is a pretty cool card because, like most of the cards that are the same type of archetype, which is on play search, this still has a use afterwards, which is it acts as a Mink. So if you get this first, then awesome. If your character plays at 3 costs or 4 costs, you can rest them and start attacking into those characters. So Wanda, sure, it's easy removable, but who cares? You're here for the effect. So it's a dual effect, a really good card, amazing early game stuff. Next, we have Shishilian. So this is another Minx card from an older set from OP02. 2, 3, 1 on play, rest to Dawn. Then you set up to one of your Minx type characters with a cost of 5 or less as active. It's pretty cool because you don't have to wait until they have like it doesn't matter the power level, it's only the cost. So if you want to do this, it's going to cost 4 to bring a character 5 back up as active. This can also act as a really cheap card to use your leader ability, but for the most part it's going to be a counter, and late game there's a couple of opportunities where you actually do want to have them as active. There is one specific card in here that works out really well when they attack multiple times, and that's your best target, which is the Carrot 5 cost. But yeah, otherwise it's just a fun little sort of tech card in here. There you go. Next off, we have our first 2K counter of the deck. This is Milky from OP08. Yeah, they called her Milky. All right, 202, activate main. You can rest this character. If your leader is Minx, set up to one of your Dawn as active. So it's a pretty decent effect. However, you're primarily still going to be using this for the 2K only. But honestly, if you really need a cheap card to activate your ability, this isn't the worst, because you're going to be setting one of your Dawn as active. Then your opponent will have to use a lot of resources to get rid of it, either attacking into it, which they could be attacking into your face, or using an effect. So yeah, it's not a bad card actually. Okay, next off we have Ezo. This, we only have 10 2Ks in here. We have 8 Minks and then 2 of just Ezo, so we can put this in the deck because it has a pretty decent effect. Not searchable by anything in the deck. OP01 332 on play, rest a 4 cost or lower. This is a pretty good effect because you can sometimes use it to get through blockers, etc. So it's just in here to fill the ratio of total of 10 2Ks of the deck. Next, we have Electrical Luna. It's a card that came out in OP08. It's a Minx card, so it is searchable. 3 cost. All of your opponents rested 7 or less will not become active. You sleep them. It's pretty nice. However, it says that it doesn't become active, so if somehow they can bring it back up, they can still do stuff with it and attack. Then the trigger is pretty good. Rest up to one of your opponent's characters. It's just straight out rest. It's pretty good. All right, so we're running 2 of these. Next up, we have the stage for the Minx. This is from OP08 3, and it's an animal, so this is not searchable by anything right now. Activate main, rest, then if your leader is Minx, set one of your Dawn as active. It's pretty good. And then at the end of your turn, you can also set one of your Minx as active. A really good one. If you find it in your starting hand, I think you absolutely keep it 100%. But you have a bunch of them, which kind of sucks, but because they don't do anything later. But then again, that's why you have something like this card, so you can go ahead and trash the extra ones that you're using. But overall, for the archetype, it's pretty good. You got dual effects, so nice. Next, we have a really good card. Honestly, this is good to use in a lot of green decks if you need some slots to fill. So this is Pedro from OP08. This is the alternate art. 4/5/1 Pedro Minx, innate blocker. Then when he is KO'd either by being attacked or with an effect, you can choose one of these, which is rest one of your opponent's Dawn cards, which they can easily play around that, no problem. However, the second effect, it's really powerful. You KO up to one of their rested characters. Remember, they have to be rested with a cost of 6 or less. So if they attack into this guy with a 6, it's going to be rested at the time that this is KO'd. So yeah, they have to play around it. It's a little bit of annoying. And yeah, it's a pretty good card because it has blocker. Really good. Okay, next up we have Beppo from OP01. This is a 2K counter 4/4 when with 1 Dawn and attacking. Play up to a hard pirate 4 or less. So there's no hard pirates in this deck. This is only here to fulfill the role of a 2K counter that can be searched. If you want, you could replace this with the 5-cost Carrot that sets some of your Dawn back as active at the end of your turn. It's just here because it's a cheap card. But yeah, you can easily replace it with that other Carrot. Speaking of Carrot, and this is not the one I just talked about, this is the new one from OP08. This is the alternate art for Carrot. This is your superstar of the deck. 5/6/1 on play, then later on when you attack with it, up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 7 will not become active. So as soon as you put it out, you can go ahead and sleep somebody, and then next turn you can attack. And then don't forget you have Shishilian, so if you play this and then you play this next turn, it's going to be pretty sweet. Actually, you need 9 Dawn. No, actually, no, I'm just kidding. If you play this, you're fine. Next turn, you're going to have more than enough Dawn you need. Yep. So there you go. This is the best target to have a Minx that is refreshed for the effect. Really good card. All right. And honestly, this is a staple. It could be used in a lot of other green decks. People like to use it. Next off, we have some more Minx. More 5 costs. So this is Nekomushi from OP08. 5/6/1 on play. If your opponent has 7 or more rested cards, this character gains rush during this turn. Now, rested cards could mean Dawn cards, it could mean character cards, it could even mean their leader card. So there is a lot of opportunity where you are absolutely going to get rush. And because this is a 5 cost, once again, we're just going to bring out Shishilian here just to let you guys know it can be refreshed at the next turn after it attacks. And don't forget, you also have Zoe for any one of your Minx as active. So right now, there's no Minx in the game, right, as of this recording that is higher than a 5 cost, but this could be crazy later on. Let's say there's a 6, 7, 8. Then this thing will activate with it. That would be pretty cool. But yeah, this is a surprise rushing card if you guys need it towards the mid game or late game. Even if you throw it out the first turn that you can, if you have your Zoe stage, you attack with it, it's gonna come back. So no problemo. Assuming your opponent has 7 or more rested, of course. Next off, it's the last 5-cost Minx of the deck. This is Inurashi from OP08, Minx and Akazaya 9. 561 on play. If your leader is Minx, so can only play with Carrot right now. Up to 2 of your opponent's rested 5 or less cannot become active. So it's a quick on play 2 sleeper, pretty cool card. It's there to fulfill the role of a 5 cost as well as just more Minx. All right, let's move on to our late game cards. This is Hody Jones. This is the alternate art from OP06, staple in so many green cards. It's green decks. 780 innate rush on play. Rest up to 2 of your characters. Dawn or characters, I said that right, characters, meaning it doesn't matter if it's a freaking 10 cost, 20 cost, 2 cost, it doesn't matter, you can rest that crap. Also, if they have anything, you know, triggers, any counters that you know they're going to use, rest those Dawn. Then you hit yourself for 1, but that's completely fine because you get a lot of benefit on the field. You usually go this for late game, so running 4 of these, honestly, this is the way you're going to win a lot of your games. Everything here is to help you. Every other card here is just to help you suppress the opponents, resting them, being annoying as hell and attacking, building up a good board, and then going for it with your Hody Jones. Here's another tech card that we're running. This is Don Quixote Rocinante from OP04. This is the alternate art. 880 on your opponent's turn. If this character is rested, your base cost 5, which you have a good amount, especially when you know your best one Carrot here cannot be KO'd by effects, which is pretty good. Then on play you can rest this character, so the turn that you put this out you can use this rested character and you play up to 1 green character, 5 from your hand. So there's once again there's 4, 8, 12 cards, your Carrot being the best one, and also the Carrot has the ability for the on play, you're rushing, and all those 3 cards are really good. So this is a good card. We're running 2 of these at the tech choice. Then finally, for the last card of the deck, this is a new card from ST16. I like this card a lot. I feel like every time I run this in a deck, I get a lot of value. This is Shanks. Film, 4 Emperors, red-haired, not searchable in this deck. 9-11-0. On play, KO. Straight up KO someone's rested character. So there's a lot of good things you can do with this. The power level is insane as well. It's just a good card. So that is the overall deck. What we're gonna do now is I'm gonna go to the PC and I'll show you the complete breakdown of all the stats, the strengths and weaknesses. So here we go. All right, so if you guys are interested, link down below if you want to see my deck profiles. I upload all of them, and then this is my deck list. I delete these and then I put them in the deck profiles when I'm done. But here is Carrots. This is OP09 upgrades. Here is the complete breakdown of how many cards are in the deck. So it has 13 0 cost counters, which is why we're running a couple of the whoever wins 0 cost justice cards. There's 22 1k counters, which is pretty good, to 10 2k counters, which is the ratio that I usually run. There are 5 triggers. There are 4 blockers only. And then we'll talk about the good and the bad here, which is it has a very, very oppressive play style. Lots of ways to rest your character's opponents, your opponent's cards. Lots of ways to keep them asleep. And then later on, you have Shanks to just KO them if you need to. And also really good thing about this deck, it's pretty versatile late game. Now, remember, there's no Minx here that's higher than 5. So what you decide to run late is up to you. And there's different ways to run this deck. In OP08 completely, you can go watch the deck profile for that. It was half Minx and half Don Quixote do Flamingo pirate cards. Here, I decided, you know, let's have some fun. I want to put the Shanks in, etc. I want to put even more Minx. So there you go. So it's very versatile. You can run the 10-drop Dofis. It's really up to you. And yeah. Next, Minx are generally late. Weak, generally late. As mentioned, there's no 5+. These things are good for suppressing and keeping asleep, so you have to rely on your late game. So if you don't have those cards, unfortunately, if you don't have 4 Hodys, I don't even think you run this deck, honestly. And it relies on better effects. You have a lot of sleep, you have a little bit of rush, but you still have to, like, that's only stalling the enemy. You need a good late game. So that's the bad stuff about this. So this deck is not a heavy removal deck. It's not the craziest rush deck with only two cards that rush. But yeah, it's a pretty fun deck overall. And I think if you bring this out and you play with your off meta, have some fun with your friends, it's going to be a fun play style. Once again, I think the other good way to run this is another Don Quixote / Minx half and half. So you can run those baby 5 searchers, you can have some Viola 2Ks, you can just mess around with the ratios. But I thought this time in OP09 I would go ahead and run this one with pure minks. I say pure minks, but the only mink searcher, etc. But yeah, well, it's okay, that's it guys. So that's it. So watch out for future duels that we're going to be uploading on this channel, including this deck and of course lots of other One Piece decks. Let us know and me in the comments, what's your opinion on the Carrot leader in general? Is it good? Is it bad? What's your best cards to include or remove? So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.